We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Oh my goodness. Letting us down already. What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Let's go! Presented as always by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use promo code DNVR whenever you sign up. Bet along with us. You know the best thing, honestly the best thing to come out of this week, and you know I never compliment Eric unless I absolutely have to. Absolutely have to.
Hold on.
100% true.
Let me prepare my body for this. Hold on.
It was RK's Broncos watch along. That's what that's right. Yep. The Broncos watch along, honestly, 10 out of 10, super fun. And you can also gamble along with them as they bet on drives, which is like the funnest thing to do.
Dude, we lost money like nobody did.
Can I tell you, betting fun is so much better than betting to win. This is why I'm telling you, like, make money elsewhere. Like betting for me, and you could bet. Some people bet and get really into it. Also fair. But I'm saying putting $10 on a drive, dumb bet. So fun though.
Yeah, like what is it a dumb bet to have fun?
Nope, it's not.
It's a great bet.
It's a great bet.
You bet $10 and then suddenly you care a lot.
There's nothing better than like the Broncos get the ball on the 15-yard line. They're like, oh, this is going to be a field goal. For sure, it's going to be a field goal. I can get great odds on them not getting it in the end zone. So, did I bring that down too far?
A little bit.
A little bit. We have a great show for you guys today. In segment 1, we're going to be talking about a lockout that's coming.
Hell yeah, great show, guys. Glad you tuned in for this one. Hype up the NBA.
Hype it up. In segments 2 and 3, though, the hotly debated Mr. Nugget. What does it mean? Ooh. Where did it come from? Where is it going? We're going to discuss all of those things. Who are the top candidates? What are the responsibilities? This is a very exciting one, and maybe we'll have a resolution here within the week about who the new Mr. Nugget will be. There's a vacancy.
I think a couple weeks ago we asked ourselves, are we taking the Mr. Nugget debate too seriously?
Oh, we're going to take it.
I think
seriously.
We've come to the conclusion that we definitely are.
Yeah.
No, we're not taking it seriously enough. Listen. There are things that matter in this world. There's things that don't matter in this world.
So true.
Mr. Nugget. Right square in the middle of it.
So true. It's so true. To help me out with that, though, I've got the giggler himself, Harrison Wind.
That was my impression of the giggler.
That was good. That was really good.
I really threw you off there, did that? Was a Jokic no look right out of bounds.
Am I supposed to respond?
No, it's to Harrison.
Harrison. Happy to be here. This is an important episode. We've done a lot of content, a lot of podcast episodes this off season. I'm glad I'm here to talk Mr. Nugget. One of the few things that I think does matter.
One of the few things that matters. Most things in life don't matter, but this matters. I've also got the handsome one. It's Eric.
That's right, guys. Wow, that feels good. Is this how you start off every episode, Harrison? I feel incredible. Listen, guys. We can debate many things in this world.
Politics, weather, sports.
I mean, the past year, since Twitter was invented, it's been a nonstop fight.
So true.
About one
vaccines.
It's unbelievable. So, but I'm ready to get back into it even more. I'm ready to fight.
Okay. I have to point out that it's really great, this fisheye camera that we have for the Studio C, which is hopefully going away here very, very soon.
God, I hope so.
I can't wait. It does make Eric look like our child, which I love. Look how tiny he is. Just a wee little lad.
Whoever sits in that middle seat is just fucked.
I love this. I feel like more, I don't know, coddled than I typically do in life.
Before we get to the fun stuff, though, guys, today, actually, I want to say one thing. We're going to be at Coors Field tonight. If you guys want to.
Hell yeah, dude.
Notice I didn't say watching the Rockies. Not sure how much I'm going to be watching the Rockies. I'm going to be at Coors Field. And you guys know I'm big into the solstice, the equinox. And one of our last chances to catch a summer sunset. We're going to be there up on the rooftop tonight doing that. And if you use the Game Time app, you can join us for what would you say is a reasonable amount to hang out with you, Eric?
Oh, to hang out with me? $0.
That's if you round down, that's how much it costs. For just $1 on the Game Time app, you can get a ticket to a Rockies game. Yeah, which again, you're not the Rockies part is free. The hanging out with D-Line is the $1.
Oh, that's what you're really paying for.
No question. That's what the fees go to.
That's where the fees go.
No, it's the Game Time. The Game Time meetup.
Yes,
using
Game
the
Time
Game Time
meetup
app.
tonight.
Dude,
I didn't use the branding properly.
Dude, Game
my bad.
Time is our new thing. Listen, we bring to you things that enhance your life: gambling, drinking, pizza, and now the thing that makes the most goddamn sense: going to games.
That's right.
You can get very cheap tickets if you wait till the last minute. You're being rewarded for being a procrastinator.
So true.
And if you do it through us, we win, you win. So come pay $1 and come watch the Rocky.
So
don't
true.
watch the Rocky.
That $1.
Come drink a beer.
That $1, like at least 8 cents of that comes directly to us. It's like so great. So
I think D-Line brings up a great point, because if all you did in your daily life was listen to this podcast, you would be able to go to games.
That's
you
so
would
true.
Drink beer.
Listen,
eat pizza.
It's not a coincidence that our partners are all those.
Shave your entire body.
Yes. become less offensive.
Like, you would be living a pretty good life.
Yeah, you'd be
All right.
Athletic Greens.
I gotta keep it moving, guys. Sham Charania. Quick to note yesterday, although Woj corrects him a little bit, I love the Shams Woj thing over this like minutia. But Shams came out and said what has long been discussed behind the scenes. I don't know if that like the average fan knows this, but this is a thing that we're hearing about as media members a lot. Maybe a coming lockout, guys. Maybe a coming lockout. Every 8 years or so, the NBA fights with themselves, and they decide, do we lock out, do we not? I kind of personally think that this will be one that I would not be surprised. To give you a quick rundown, the negotiation period for this collective bargaining agreement, that window is going to expire on December 15th on Yokmas, a.k.a. Slava.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
Why would it expire
on those days?
15th.
But the agreement itself runs all the way through 2024. So we're really looking at 2 more seasons. After that, are we going to run into, headfirst into a lockout?
Yes.
I kind of think we are, in large part because of this is classic how negotiations work between, unions. You got like, hey, we're going to start leaking our very extreme proposals, and we're going to try to set the parameters far enough so that middle is somewhere closer to where we want to be rather than where
it's the Danny Ainge strategy.
Yeah. The Danny Ainge strategy. We're asking for 7 firsts, all right? We're asking for 7 firsts. We'll settle for 2,
right?
But we're asking for 7. Here are some of the items. Number 1. Lowering the age limit for the draft. Right now we have the one and done rule. You have to go to college. Of course, this doesn't apply to everybody. You can get players in Europe.
You can go to the G League.
You can go to the G League. So you're right, but it's 1 year out of high school, and it is a little complicated because you do have European players that can come over basically at high school age. But hey, I've been playing professionally, so it doesn't quite work. But lowering the age limits back down to 18, or lowering the age limit and then allowing players to go straight from high school to the NBA. Harrison, how do you feel about this proposed change?
Sure, why not? Like, why not? Guys are coming into the league 1 year removed. Would it be catastrophic if they came right out of high school? No, I think everybody's fine with it.
Yeah, this is like this just goes back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
Like you have the Kwame Browns, you have like the guys that come out,
Yeah.
the Kobe Bryants, like people that come right out of high school. Like
He wasn't good his first year though.
But there's the 2 sides of the coin. Like sometimes it's an absolute disaster, and sometimes it's Kevin Garnett.
Sometimes LeBron James is the best example,
Right.
who was like a top
The
30 player his first year.
Development now with NBA teams is light years ahead of where it was.
Man,
back when the one and done rule was a thing.
I agree with this take. Yes, okay. The last part there, the caveat before, back like how it was back in 2003 or 4.
Right,
whenever.
back
5,
when Robert Swift was drafted, top 10 and just flamed out and was like living in a house by himself and nobody knew where he was.
So I'm of 2 minds about this one in particular. I'm for it just because the 1 year doesn't make a difference. To me, if players didn't come in until they were 2021, I do think that there would be something good brought to our game that was probably positive. There is a level of fundamentals growing up, this or that I think makes the game better. Most of the time when we talk about these types of things, most people view them through the lens of fair, which I find kind of funny because we're actually talking about guys making millions versus tens of millions versus billions of dollars. Like fair to me is almost less important than there's a third part in these negotiations, players, owners, fans. And to me, I'm always way more concerned with the fan, which is to say I'm way more concerned with the product.
Yep.
What makes the product better? And I don't think one and done year versus no one and done year, to me, doesn't really matter. You're going to get a bunch of guys who aren't ready for the NBA, even if they're 1 out of 1,000 are going to be LeBron James, Luka Doncic, but a lot of them are going to be, to your point, Robert Swift, and you're going to get them in. They're not going to develop properly, and they're just going to get chewed up and spit out, and the league is going to be worse because those guys are going to be in the league for 4 years before we realize, hey, they didn't develop. And a lot of I don't want to say lives. I don't want to be so dramatic to say lives will be ruined. But in some cases, guys will get in. They'll have all that pressure on them, no chance to really develop in the right order, and then their careers get derailed. So for me, if you were going to move this to be, say, hey, 21-22, you would miss out on the Lukas and whatever. But I do think the game would work. Not realistic, not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I say whatever. Bring them in. Bring them in at 18. It doesn't.
Yeah, they should maybe.
There's already 18-year-olds in the draft.
That's true.
Of course, even this draft. Right. Of course.
Maybe the middle is that you can draft them, but they have to spend a year in the G League.
I mean, again, 1 year in the G League, what is it really doing?
I mean, but it's like the same as the one and done, right?
My point is, you get in the NBA, I think you're short on player development from team concepts. You're high on development of your body. You're high on development of your individual skills, like shooting and all these things. But I think you're low on just like understanding the game, and the pressure's there right away. If you're a team that takes Luka Doncic at 18 years old, you're not like, hey, 3 years from now, he's going to be ready. No, it's like, hey, we need this guy to start producing. Well, right. And every Luka can. Every other guy that's not Luka, every Anthony Bennett or whatever else can't, and it's tough.
I think it's kind of case by case. Some guys do have a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Some guys don't. Who was the guy that Portland took this year in the draft?
Oh,
really,
right.
really young kid.
Out for 2 years because he wanted to be drafted in the first.
Yeah,
round.
He hurt his shoulder in summer league.
I honestly don't.
Shaden Sharp.
Oh, Shaden Sharp.
Shaden Sharp, one of the youngest guys in the draft, maybe highest potential. Is probably the closest to a guy coming out of high school. He goes to a situation in Portland. He's going to be able to develop real slowly there, right. I feel like.
Maybe, you think?
I think so.
Man,
I think that's the plan for him there. You know, they've got talent around him there. I don't think they're going to ask too much.
But here's what I'm saying is when you say develop, you specifically mean individual basketball skill development, which the NBA is like the best at. You get players, they're going to develop a handle and a shot and all these different things. My point is I think in the NBA there's a real lack of understanding team play. Nonetheless, we got to keep it moving because this is one where I can be idealistic, but there's no solution. My solution would be for there to be a better developmental path that these guys get to learn those aspects of it and then in a league. Never going to happen. Yeah. Never going to happen. So the difference between 19 and 18 doesn't matter to me. Make it 18.
I mean, I feel like the G League is involvement of the G League is exactly what you're talking about. Like that is the developmental league, right? Like they just that needs to become more the norm. And perhaps it's foisted upon them. Like you have to. Yeah. I mean, you don't draft an MLB player and have them not go to the developmental leagues then for 5 years, which you don't need.
And baseball is such a more individual sport.
Yeah, anyway. You don't need that in the NBA, but like maybe there just needs to be some kind of like. It's not expected or it's not even allowed that your player comes over and just immediately start playing. So I don't know.
Anyway, we're being too idealistic. I don't want to waste time on it. Lower it. Cool. I'm for it just because it's the only realistic thing. And
we're pretty much there.
We're pretty much there.
I mean, the reason it was turned around was for the benefit of the NCAA.
Kind of, but also for the NBA. I'm telling you, it's really tough when you have to decide between an established 20-year-old or an 18-year-old that just has ridiculous upside. And if you're an organization and you're like, all right, we're going to get this guy, and it's going to take 3 years, and then he's going to be good, and then I've only got this window.
If you're in that spot, like that's kind of the luck of the draw, right?
It also, I should just say, starts the clock early. If you're going to have, basically teams have 7 years of control, right, of a player when they come in. And now we all know that 7 is even being generous because guys learn that with 2 years left, you can start to force your way out. So if you only have 5 years of a player that you really feel comfortable with and you start that clock at 18, by 23, all of a sudden you're starting to worry about that draft pick you just spent 5 years and now he's ready to compete. These are the things. But again, it doesn't matter. There's no solution that's fair to everybody.
No, so just move
it up.
You acquiesce.
This is where you acquiesce, 100%. Harsher luxury tax penalties. Now here's an interesting one. We are in a weird and unprecedented moment in time when these owners are making so much money. I have given the Cronkies credit for saying, hey, look, they're spending money on ads, they're spending money on this. But it should be viewed through a specific lens of the money they're spending is now no longer considered lots of money. Going into the luxury tax, $17 million. That was impressive 8 years ago.
Oh.
Now, Steve Ballmer, he laughs at $17 million.
As he should.
$17 million, I'll go in $200 million. I'll go into the luxury tax. And I think that one of the things that's interesting is back in the good old days, back in the good old days, an NBA owner, the rich one had $5 billion and the poor ones had $1 billion or maybe $500 million. The gap wasn't so big. Now you got guys worth $80 billion. In the NFL, you got $50 billion. So when they look at a luxury tax payment of $20 million, they go, that doesn't mean it might as well be zero. Rounding down, that's $0 to me. Yeah. So now you have guys spending a lot. Well, there's a real gap now between $50 million Steve Ballmer and $4 billion average NBA owner. There's a real gap there. So the only way I think other owners see to compete with them is to say, hey, we need harsher luxury tax penalties for these Warriors, for these Clippers. I don't know where I fall on this one. Again, if I want the league to remain competitive, I don't want Ballmer to be able to laugh at a $200 million luxury tax bill. I don't want him to be able to do that. At the same time, I want owners to actually pay up and pay their money. So I don't want to make it easy for the cheap guys. I'm very torn on this one.
I'm torn on it too. But when you really think about it, it's like, should your owner and how much he's willing to spend really determine if you can win a championship?
How it does
should that sports. Be the deciding factor?
Yeah. This is not a conversation ever in football because there is a hard cap. There should be there needs to be a hard cap in the luxury tax. Like,
oh, I see. Ooh,
there needs to be. You can't go.
Let's get you into the room.
Let's get you in the room, Eric. I like this.
Let's go.
And that number can be ridiculously high. It's just that the numbers are getting so crazy now that
I agree. But I do like the multiplier factor. You do see teams dip in and then come back out, and dip in and come back out. It is.
I know, but there's three or four
in and out. This is like how it works in baseball. Why it's such a disaster and why capitalism ruins everything is because ultimately, if you get big enough, it becomes a self-sustaining little ecosystem. You spend more, you make more. Then you're the Yankees. You just can spend more forever, and it becomes a stratification. They have to have some kind of they have to.
I think I'm with this as well. And I think I'm with you. I don't want to make it to where it protects owners from ever having to spend money because they're making so much money.
Yes.
But I do want to make it so that the Ballmers of the world don't have such an unfair advantage because they are 5-10 times more rich than every other owner. I don't want to make it so unfair that they can do that. Now, here's what's interesting about Ballmer, and I'll tip my hat to him. There are things that don't fall under the luxury tax, like an arena, like a practice facility, like all these types of things. And he is committed to being like, we're going to be the first class of all of those things.
He's spending.
And to me, I like that. And I hope that those things do pay dividends, that it actually does come. I don't want the Clippers to win titles because, F them. But I'm just saying, I do hope that it's like one of those things where owners know if you really want to be competitive, you have to buy all.
Get out what you put in.
Yeah, you have to sprinkle some love on the edges there that don't fall under that banner. All right, let's get into the big ones.
Oh boy.
Players to provide medical info to all teams at the draft. How ridiculous is it that this is not already a rule? Right now, if you're, say, Michael Porter Jr. and you are set to have a second back surgery, but you really just want to go to, a specific team. You say, hey, Chicago Bulls, here's my medicals. Denver Nuggets, you want the medicals? No, because I don't want to go to Denver. I don't want to go to Milwaukee. I don't want to go anywhere. So I'm only going to share information with teams I want to go and attempt. Absolutely ridiculous. It's always the same teams that get access to everything, and it's always the same teams that
It's always the Sacramento Kings who just don't have access.
They don't get anything. Yeah, it's so true. They don't get anything.
They're flying blind every draft.
Every draft, they're like, this guy won't return our phone calls or whatever. We have no information.
Did we have access to MPJ's medicals before we drafted him?
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. These things do get around. I don't think these secrets are as tightly held, but there are things like, hey, is agent going to let him work out for their? No, I don't want anybody to think he's falling. Look, the NBA is getting so dumb in the way that it just works to the benefit of the same teams. To me, this one's another easy one. Just make medical information a standardization. Every team gets to look at it.
Why is this a conversation?
Well, I'll tell you why. It's because there are teams.
Thing?
No, well, no. Honestly, no, there is a part of this because what you can do is if you are Sacramento and you really want Michael Porter to fall to 13 and, you got out there and you start leaking like, hey, have you guys seen the medicals? Hey, Shams, you seen this? Guys, really injury prone. I wouldn't take him top 12.
Why don't we just do NBA.com/injuries and just have every player's medical info in the database?
Nonetheless, you need to make this
publicize it all.
Nonetheless, you need to make these things happen. And just the fairness at the end of the day is important here.
Of course.
I would make a similar rule for workouts. Like make it they have to work out in a certain range or whatever. And
God, I can't even imagine being in these rooms. Like, I'm so bored already just talking about these.
Jesus
just
Christ.
Well, you're going to be in there. It's going to be
all
Silver,
right, these last two really get me, and I think people are going to be. This will be a little bit controversial, but ability for players to cite mental health as a reason not to play, the same way you cite a physical injury.
Oh boy.
I'm personally 1,000% against this.
Oh boy.
1,000%, and here's why. This is a solution looking for a problem. Kevin Love already missed most of his season for mental health. Was paid for it. Ben Simmons just sat out a whole season, really, just because I'm sure that I don't want to diminish mental health. Very important thing. I think the NBA has been very progressive on this issue.
Absolutely.
And yet Ben Simmons, they end up going to court, ends up owning him all the money anyway. Kyrie Irving, this or that. You had players, DeMar DeRozan, have come out and spoken and said, like, hey, I've had this injury, teams have supported, whatever, have gone through the process of saying, we understand this is a real thing. This rule, to me, you don't have an issue with teams not allowing players to set up. We don't have an issue right now with players playing too many games, like, oh, they're being forced to play. No, we have the opposite problem. And to me, this weaponizes a very real problem in a way that allows for players now to say, hey, we have an issue with guys not playing games. Here's an absolute cut and dry way for you to never have to play should you not want to. Mm-hmm. And to me, this doesn't help DeMar DeRozan, doesn't help Kevin Love, doesn't help Paul George, the guys who've come out and spoken about it. Right. It actually just helps the people that abuse every rule that's already happened or already available in the league. So to me, this is one that I look at and I go, good intention, but I don't think it's going to work out the way the way it's designed.
This is tough, is it not? We are talking about a league that is not supposed to be easy. It is supposed to be difficult. You're supposed to fight through a lot of things. That's kind of the game, right? Like you're just kind of going through things that are all of the adversity that besets your team. You're supposed to sort of fight through. At the same point in time, you can argue that, maybe the idea that it has to be so extreme that you miss large portions of the season like a Kevin Love and a Kyrie Irving, are a result of not taking care of little micro things that come up along the way. I personally took a mental health day yesterday. I took a nap. It was great. A lot of people asked for things from me on Slack. I did not respond until today. Everything was okay at the end.
Then the world kept turning.
World just absolutely kept turning. The
mental health day was a hangover day. Is that what happened?
No, not even.
Is that what it's going to turn into in the NBA?
No, I just was like,
James Harden never plays in Atlanta.
Oh, we're going to start calling it a lemon pepper
pre-scheduling mental health.
This is my thing. Is I think again. As this gets negotiated in public spaces, maybe more information will come to light. But as of right now, the high-profile cases of this, teams have worked with them and said, like, hey, we're a progressive league. We find this to be a very important thing. We're no problem at all. Yeah. But what this is going to turn into is, in my opinion, is guys who are already trying to sue their teams for making them play for like other reasons outside of mental health. Now they just have a fast pass of like, hey, here's a thing that you can never be questioned on.
If a player went to a team like those guys have and was like, look, I just need to get myself right. Like, I just need a day. Team's going to give him that.
Right.
Like we've seen this.
That's
time and time again.
So it's a little bit for show, maybe. This thing, it's like a little bit for like.
I just don't know who it protects because we've had high profile instances of this already. Who have, who it's been great. The league has been like very forward thinking on all of this. But I also can see how it'll be weaponized immediately because it's already been weaponized.
It's true. I mean, you can imagine like a Nate Robinson or somebody that doesn't maybe have a great relationship with the coaching staff and be like, I'm taking a mental health day. And you're like, well.
Nothing we can do about it.
I mean,
this last one was really. This last one also bothered me. An emphasis on player-fan civility, and the language in it was very much a like. Fans need to learn how to act around players. Now, this is somewhat true. Like we've seen some high profile with Russell Westbrook players like walking onto the court or saying things that have like racial connotations or this or that. There's no question about it. But my issue with the players union is that there is a very real and important relationship between players and fans that I feel has been severed very greatly over the last 15 years.
Oh yeah.
During this era. The social media era. And to me, just looking at it and pointing at it and saying we need to like put the fans in their place, to me is like that's not the issue. There's a schism between players and fans, and it's about mending that one, not about like trying to come up with these harsher restrictions on how fans interact with the game. To me, in my opinion,
a lot of players, if you ask them, in their ideal world, are just playing in the bubble with no fans.
Right.
They're just hooping.
Right.
Just
Well, except
straight
that they would have
hooping.
all taken a mental health day every day.
We've moved off of that. But they just want to hoop and play basketball with fans watching silently, sitting on their hands. Like, that's what a lot of players want. The fact of the matter is that's just not reality. That's not the world we live in. Sports is about players and fans, and most of them root with you, some of them root against you. And like, that's just life. Like, that's just what sports is built upon.
This is specifically an NBA issue because the NBA has structured itself in such a way that it is this like tabloid-centric way of interacting with players. You try and get LeBron James to say something goofy to you, and you record it, courtside Karen. Like all of these interactions that happen with players are like pretty mean-spirited online, just in general. Like the way that players are spoken about, the way that people are spoken about.
I agree with this.
It's just that the culture of the NBA is very young, and it's getting younger, and it's like young in a way that's like junior high school, which is like mean-spirited.
Yeah.
And so
it's
like,
very contentious between fans and
it
players.
is
right
like
now.
just because like
But
like
hasn't it always been that way?
No, but if you go on Twitter now, it's like
but
this guy's a clown.
That stuff's
It's like,
always been happening. It's just not on Twitter.
but
Right.
but contrast against how the NFL is regarded. It's like there are a couple things, but it's like every player in the NBA is treated more like a punchline, more like a it's just more like
it's talked about that way for sure.
It's just talked
More
about that way
online.
because that's how they frame their thing. Their conversation is to be online centric, and so it leaks over. Like the way that the online community acts and leaks over into the real life product of the NBA more so than any other league. And so, I mean, I don't know how you fix this. It's just
you're right. How do we fix this? This is the hard thing, and here's my issue with that. That is not, to me, you're basically saying it's the media that does this and it creates this way. I disagree.
It's more than the media.
It is more than the media, fans, media, social media, all of this. But what I'm saying is that's exactly the issue. Is to me, it is the relationship between the two that needs amends, not necessarily a punishment of the fan. That's like the receiving end of this sort of dynamic. Players know, like, relative to years past, or to eras past, players feel like they are just working in a city, not that they are a part of it. And it's funny, coming from Serbia, one of the things that'll probably make the documentary, talking to Milan Dozet, he was talking about how almost every game during the Dirty, Partizan Red Star, people are throwing bottles and batteries onto it. And he kept saying, like, us as players, we just bind ourselves to that experience, meaning that to us is a part of the experience, and it's not a good thing, but we accept that to these people, this is a very important thing, and we are representing them. And it was such a, like, he's saying this like off the cuff, as
just
in like
casual.
Just casual, as in like, hey, look, man, I mean, that's just part of it, and we know it means a lot to these people.
Man, I played in Belgrade.
Yeah, and look, that's one extreme that's obviously too far. I'm not advocating for that, but I'm saying that there's at least an understanding of the relationship that he shares to the people that we're all involved in. And to me, that is not the case with NBA players who just feel like, I just put the shirt on, man. I'm not part of you. You're separate of me. And to me, you can't fix one through punishment without fixing that connection and that relationship. So when I read the language in here, I go, God, this sucks, man. Yeah. This sucks.
A further divide.
A further divide that's like disguised as a solution when it actually has no intent of being a solution. So again, good issues. All of these ones, I think, good issues, but the solutions that are proposed to me just reek of that's not going to be great. Not going to get approval. Going to become contentious in negotiations. And three, if they somehow got through.
There's a lockout.
So I'm saying there's a lockout. All right, let's move on. That was the unfun stuff.
Boy, that was unfun.
And the other side, though, the very fun stuff.
The funnest.
We just talked about the relationship between fan and players. Foundational to the Mr. Nugget title.
Breckenridge Brewery, they've got a birthday coming up. 32 years young to celebrate. Breck Brewers throwing a weekend-long hootenanny. Kick off the fall with live music, food and beer, and games. October 8th and 9th at their Littleton location. They've got national music acts like Spin Doctors and local favorites Railroad Earth rocking out. Ooh. So stay tuned to everything on this show across the entire DNVR network for hootenanny giveaways leading up to October 8th. Check out the link in the description or go to breckbrew.com for more details on tickets and artist lineup. At DraftKings Sportsbook, the NFL action is in full swing. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. We're talking touchdowns, big plays, even bigger wins. New customers right now can bet just $5 on any NFL team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. If that's not enough, everyone can boost their winnings with DraftKings stepped up same game parlays.
Oh, baby.
Right now, for every leg you add, you can boost your winnings up to 100%.
God, I love parlays.
With payouts bigger than ever.
So fun.
Why bet on
That's
football
what I mean.
anywhere else?
Bet for fun, man. Bet for fun.
Yeah,
Bet to win. You bet to win.
Oh, it's fun to win.
But it's fun to win. Sometimes it's fun to lose, though, too.
Those stepped up same game parlays once per game all season long, once per game day all season long. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR to get $200 in free bets. If your team wins when you place a $5 bet on any football game, that's code DNVR. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
All right, back here, segment 2, the fun segment.
Oh, we're back. God, that was terrible, wasn't it?
I thought it was good.
Okay.
And now we turn our attention to Mr. Nugget. Guys, we are 1 week away from the first day of training camp. Mr. Wind, myself, we will be out in San Diego covering all of this stuff, all of the exciting insights and details from San Diego.
Sunny San Diego.
Is this the most contentious thing that's in our universe?
That we have to go to San Diego every year and spend
Mr. Nugget.
Oh,
the
Mr.
concept.
Nugget.
It's the hottest storyline heading into camp.
So if you don't know the history of Mr. Nugget,
Not kidding.
years ago, we're covering this team.
Sure.
Actually, I think Mr. Nugget, the original Mr. Nugget, came pre-DNVR. It might have been a locked on or I don't know if we started Mr. Nugget.
I think
after.
it was DNVR.
You think it was DNVR? Yeah. You got Gary Harris. He's representing us so well, and everybody seems to like Gary. You never hear anybody say something bad about Gary. You just never heard it. Yeah. And you start to think, he sure seems to embody the Denver Nuggets, man. Everything we love about the Nuggets can be seen right as him as a physical embodiment of our love of the Denver Nuggets. Then he gets traded away.
Oh, boy.
He gets traded away. But fortunately for us, there was Monte Morris, who, as I've long said my theory of nicknames, if you have multiple nicknames, that means you're loved.
Yeah.
Because you have nicknames that popped up from different groups of people at different points in your life.
Dude, if you refer to somebody with a nickname, that's affection.
Big Game Tay, Man, Tay Tay.
That's a weird one.
That's a Man, Tay Tay, Mr. Nugget himself. There's no end of names.
Man. I'm going to need the backstory.
What about Monmo?
The Count of Monte assisted turnover.
Yeah, that was a little
Monmo? We didn't know love for Monmo?
Monmo, not exactly one that hung on. So I think it's a thing. I think it's a real thing. Those are the two guys. Mr. Nugget was invented organically for Gary Harris. When he was traded, it was like obvious who the next Mr. Nugget was. It was going to be Monte Morris. We need a definition. If I were to put it, as I have on the sheet, a definition, a fan favorite who embodies the spirit of the team.
Oh, boy.
We could probably do better.
That's pretty good, though.
Oh, is this our Mount Rushmore of Mr. Nuggets? Look at this, the founding fathers of Mr. Nugget. We got Gary, we got Monte.
By the way, can you imagine spending all the time to carve that into rock and like those were the expressions you
I was going to say, Gary looks
carving
scared.
a mustache into a rock is probably tough.
But it's more like carving a very sort of astonished, not great look. But you spend 2 years.
That's the look Gary Harris gave Yoke when he was looking for that full court outlet pass.
Totally. Oh, look at that prestigious lineup, though. Two decorated.
Yeah.
Absolutely regal Mr. Nuggets is. I just love to see it.
Yeah, I do as well. What other definition could you put on here before we get to responsibilities?
Yeah, by the way, we're not deciding this today. We're just conversating about it,
Well, we might decide soon, though.
Yeah.
Another definition for Mr. Nugget.
I mean, it's a fan favorite player. It's this idea of like, hey, it's somebody we all kind of approve on who like takes on that mantle.
And it's also, it needs to be said, not the star player. Not like Mr. Nugget
can't be
just the best player. It'd be Jokic. Jokic is Mr. Nugget. Jokic is Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
Jokic is Mr. Serbia. Jokic is all there is. He's the center of our lives. Yeah. But we need to spread it out. This is more like
so true.
This is sort of like the bench captain.
Could it be the best player? Is there a world in which? Because if it
I think if we're not giving it to the literal top, I was going to say
I don't think it can, because I can't picture, if it's not Jokic, then I can't picture anybody else being Mr. Nugget.
Like, would Carmelo Anthony have been Mr. Nugget in the day?
No, absolutely not.
No, right?
No way.
The only way it could happen is if just the Nuggets totally pivoted and went like so soulless. They're just the Brooklyn Nets and Jokic.
Oh, that's true. You could be Mr. Nugget on like a tanking team that's really bad. But by default, it's the best player.
When the Nuggets were bad and they had Jokic, Mr. Nugget probably was. I was gonna say it was Gary the whole time, but like Will Barton had he was like the guy that was
when he was the people's champ.
When he was the people's champ, he had like real. If not for Gary, I mean, of course, we can't relitigate that era. So but all the same, you understand. We're not saying
not the best player.
Not the best player. It's just
really probably not the second best player. Man, it'd be very hard to be even the second best player.
It would be tough. I like that definition,
but it's not
like the guy who just embodies
the spirit of the team.
The spirit of the team, the spirit of the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if we go move on now to responsibilities, which I feel like almost best defined.
Oh, boy.
Number one, you got to be a great teammate.
Got to be a great number one,
to be a great teammate.
I don't think you can be Mr. Nugget if you have beef.
No.
You have to be
Mr.
a vegetarian.
Nugget is beefless. That's a vegetarian option.
Yeah. So it's really vegan. I mean, we're really going full vegan here.
That's a Beyond Meat option.
Socially, I mean, social vegan. No beef. No beef.
Beefless, dude. You have to be the exact opposite of beef. You need to present beef as a gift.
You know, Mr. Nugget doesn't necessarily have to be a leader in that sense, but it does have to be somebody that just like picks you up. You know, like
you got to hype up your teammates.
I think you're kind of the leader of vibes.
Ooh, I like that. The leader of vibes.
I think you're the custodian of all Nuggets vibes outside of obviously our duties in this category. But like on the team, you sort of have to be the vibes meister.
Right. You got to be hyping up your guys in the post-game press conference.
They got to know you're there for them. You got to stare at Jokic in the eyes almost lustily, like we've seen Monte Morris do in the past.
You got to shout out your teammates on Twitter.
You got to, dude. You got to retweet people. Yep. You got to call attention to things that are happening. You got to be the conduit between fan and Nugget.
Who's Mr. DNVR Nugget? Can't be me. I'm because the rule about being the best.
Mr. DNVR Nugget. It's Def.
I mean, come on.
Moving on.
I put this one here on responsibilities. Understand and accept the relationship between team and fan base. And this gets back to what I was saying about this idea about the schism. Like, I really hope that these things always go in cycles. I feel like, you get these different cycles. I hope that the new generation, and I do see a little bit of this, new generation understands like, no, the fans, man, people talk shit online, but I can't use that as an example of every person online. It's just, this is a part of online culture. I hope that there's an understanding of, I feel like Monte Morris definitely understood that. Gary Harris maybe a little bit less because he was such a quiet and reserved person, but nonetheless, like he was a guy that, didn't hate the fan. He didn't have beef with the fans. He wasn't calling fan base out.
No, but he was stately.
He was stately.
He presented
presidential.
He presented himself in such like it was just there was no questioning the integrity of Mr. Nugget. You can't question Mr. Nugget's integrity.
Right. You can't be fake as Mr. Nugget.
No, dude, you got to be
100%.
You got to be authentic.
That's real.
That's what I put on here. You have to be lovable and authentic. Mm-hmm. Lovable and authentic, because you can't just be like, I'm trying to be lovable. Right? You can't be like politician lovable.
Yeah, who's very authentic was Boogie Cousins.
That's true. That's true, but not
lovable.
Not in a Mr. Nugget way.
Very authentic, not necessarily lovable. That's a great point. And then connecting with fans, and then I like this one: represent Denver/Colorado.
Totally.
Almost no NBA players are from Colorado.
Chauncey Billups was the last one ever.
But when you become adopted by a city, it's great to like reciprocate that love. Attending Denver sports events, Monte Morris everywhere. Avs game, Avs jersey.
Rockies game, even Rockies game,
and Rockies game.
If you go to a Rockies game as a Nuggets player, like you can be in the Mr. Nugget conversation.
It's just doing Denver things, you're just like, I'm in Rome. I'm here.
These people. Let's go hang out at Wash Park.
Let's go hang out at Wash Park.
Go chill in the Highlands.
Yeah,
let's go to Red Rocks on a weekend.
Let's go smoke weed behind the hill in the park with
let's go hang out over in Rhino.
Let's go watch fish play in Boulder. Why not? Let's just
classic Denver.
Classic Denver stuff.
You got to just be one with the city.
You got to be one with the city. You got to at least make the attempt. Like, look, I'm
no
not
one's
saying
gonna be
Denver has
one
to be
with
your
you.
favorite city. It's my favorite city. You don't have to be, but it's like, hey, you're adopted by the city. Let's get it.
Indulge us.
Indulge us a little. Meet us halfway, or like 10% of the way. We'll do the rest. You got to get the crowd going.
Oh,
yes.
The crowd
hype,
must get going.
The crowd must get going. You got to have a little bit of hype to you. It doesn't have to be overt. Monte Morris wasn't a guy that was constantly, doing this or that. But,
he picked his spots.
But he also just had energy, man. Like, Monte's always one
Big
of those
Monte.
guys that is always doing something.
Yeah.
And then you got to get your teammates going.
Those teammates better be going on your watch.
Yeah. What else? What other responsibilities? Does the chat have any good responsibilities for us?
What other responsibilities? Oh, man, Zeke. Holy
People
smokes.
said that a couple people.
Really?
A couple people. You might disagree with this, but a couple people are saying Mr. Nugget has to be home ground.
What does that mean?
Oh, man.
You have to
they have
be
to be
drafted
drafted.
and
I
developed
disagree.
here?
I strongly disagree.
Gary
Gary Harrison, Monte
the
Morris.
last two months, the last two Mr. Nuggets have
Not
been.
terrible. Not terrible.
And
It certainly helps. I think that certainly helps.
I think it helps.
You can be naturalized.
You can be natural.
You can be Lorenzo
Is
Brown.
Lorenzo Brown Mr. Spade?
Yeah. I think
How many Spanish words do you think Lorenzo Brown knows?
See?
Is he the-
No. And Juancho.
But
And then-
I think it's a good point. I think being drafted and developed here and being
Not a
homegrown,
requirement, though.
It's not a requirement. I
But
think it
give you a
helps,
leg
though.
up. It does give you a leg
Yeah.
up. No question.
And then some people are saying that he has to come on the DNVR show.
Man.
That would definitely help.
Well, that really
any
cuts the list
contenders.
down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would say that's a very good, strong recommendation, but maybe not absolutely essential.
Yeah. I also think like Mr. Nugget has to have like a super high approval rate. I feel like across
Mr.
the
Nugget
league.
must be universally loved.
He's got to be liked by the majority of people out
This
there.
was like Will Barton. Honestly, you brought him up. He honestly had a good case for being a Mr. Nugget prior to Mr. Nugget, but too polarizing. Like
Too polarizing.
It was a little too polarizing.
He had an era of if Mr. Nugget had been then what it is now.
He might have been.
Boy, would the chatter have been about his Mr. Nugget candidate.
He might have been the only Mr. Nugget to be taken out of office.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Oh, man,
would have
he
been
was
really
forcibly
tough.
removed.
Forcibly removed. All right, those are the criteria, the responsibilities, the personality. On the other side, the candidates
Oh
for
man,
the vacant Mr. Nugget spot.
dude, I feel like the campaigning is getting a little hot and a little heavy. I feel like we're going to
getting
see
serious.
We're going to see wars in the streets. But
Be so
again,
funny.
for what better cause?
Ivaka, they're the GOAT in Colorado sports. The greatest of all TV. It's where our Serbia documentary is premiering. It will be the only place to watch it at first. So get set up with Ivaka TV right now. Go to ivaka.tv/Colorado10 to get $10 off per month for those first 3 months.
Again, and think about this like sports Netflix. You pay monthly fees to get Netflix, $7, $8, whatever it is. This is not that dissimilar of a cost, and it's just to get sports on demand.
You get sports.
Dude,
you get
like-
the Nuggets. You get the Avs. You get the Rockies.
I'm cutting my cord. I'm getting Ivaka TV. I'm getting Netflix, Hulu, and then I'm just going to live my life.
HBO.
I'll get HBO.
Did you catch the industry finale last night?
No.
Oh wow. Okay. It was a banger. You also get a lot of entertainment channels with Ivaka TV. 60 of them. 60 channels total. So you get more than just sports. $25 a month plus a $5 receiver fee. But right now you guys can get $10 off per month for your first 3 months. Go to ivaka.tv/Colorado10. ivaka.tv/Colorado10. Like we talked about at the top of the show tonight, game time meetup.
Oh, the game
At
time
Coors
meetup?
Field on the party deck.
Dude.
We'll be there. Hopefully you guys will be
I'm
there.
going to drink 500 beers.
Hold him to that. Absolutely hold him to that. You guys can go to the Rockies game and hang out with us tonight for $1.
Yeah.
Tickets available on the Game Time app for tonight at Coors Field for
Use the-
$1.
But use the link
at the rooftop.
Yeah, use the link in our description.
Use the link in the description.
Always, if you're going to buy a game time ticket, go through our link. It helps us.
It's always in our
immensely.
YouTube.
Always
so-
in our YouTube.
Or it's in the podcast description
or go
if
to
you're
the
listening.
website. Like if you're going to buy it anyway, just like be some homies to us.
Yes.
Definitely be homies.
Absolutely. Use the link in the description. Go to Coors Field tonight. $1. Hang out with us. It's your go-to site for sporting events, concerts, shows, whatever you need. Game Time is your spot.
Got it all, baby. Also, not. Do you have any more reads?
No, go ahead.
I mentioned it casually online, but the DNVR Serbia reprint of the shirt,
those red shirts,
the now iconic shirt.
Do you have it, Kale?
Is available. I didn't send it to him. Okay. I've restocked it. It's available in the store again. I have mentioned to people.
Oh
my
Kale!
God.
Oh, look at that background.
My
too.
God.
Wow.
Which, by the way, when this first came out, everyone was like, "Man, that shirt is really bright." But like as you wear it, it's a great color.
It's a great color. It's a really great color.
The point being, in Serbia, I am still working on getting a situation whereby you can get local shipping to happen from there, so that it's not such a bullet to bite to buy these things. But anybody in the U.S., like, if you want to be part of the Insider Crew,
that is the ultimate Insider Crew, the Serbia Crew.
The candidates. 2022-23 Mr. Nugget.
Oh, good.
Candidate number 1.
Okay, let's hear it.
Bones Highland, who, by the way, today took to Twitter to say, don't call him Nishan. Did you see that?
Yeah,
Whoa.
I did see that.
He said, don't call him Nishan Highland. It's his family name. To you, he's Busy or Bones. He gave you 2 options.
Busy
Okay.
or Bones?
2
Which I
options.
feel like, let's be honest, everybody calls him Bones anyway. So
What was the tenor of that? What was the?
I would say instructive.
Okay, it wasn't like it wasn't
Just
was he
setting
being
the
mean?
tone for the season.
It's just like, I think it's more like, people that have like their first name is Geraldo and they're like, don't
this
call
like
me
when
that.
Michael-
My name's Gary, or
Is this,
like
was this a Michael, not Mike Malone situation?
a little bit, except only
No,
if the first,
yeah.
it's like,
if
hey,
he went more formal,
It's-
this goes less.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, imagine those people that have, like those family names that have been the family for
Right,
years
right.
and years and years, like Hubert, William,
Yeah,
Charles the Third. He goes by like Bill.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He goes by Dumpy or something.
Dumpy.
Old Dumpy. Don't call
No,
me
I think
Charles.
but I think it's cool. Bones is a great nickname. Busy's a great
Busy's a
nickname.
great one too. Yeah,
Yeah,
Bones.
We've
got-
never
you got two
called
great ones.
Bones by
yeah, never.
his actual name on
Yeah.
the show.
He-
So
yeah.
why would we start?
So Bones Highland, is he, if we go by this,
Oh, boy.
is he a custodian of vibes?
Dude, he is the creator of vibes.
Oh, wow.
He is more than simply overlooks them. He is the one who knocks.
He's the vibe setter. He
Sounds
sets the
ominous. If
vibes.
we're like comparing him to Walter White, I don't know if this is great for his
Dude, who had
candidacy
better
here.
vibe? Mr. Breaking Bad is Walter White.
Wow. Okay, we don't know how to analyze that. Would you say that he is lovable?
Oh yeah, how could you not love Bones?
You've heard me
Highland,
profess my love to him with
To
no
him.
irony.
Bones not only has 100% approval rate in Denver, across the entire NBA, everybody loves Bones Highland.
But the thing is like we have been a little removed from the last part of the season. That game that Bones Highland
In the playoffs.
set the Nuggets world on fire. Essentially single-handedly won that playoff game against the Warriors for us with just how hot he got. Like that was the most vibey thing that's happened to us since the Austin Rivers game.
I think surpassing the Austin Rivers game, honestly,
boy.
but in part just because he's more fun doing it. Like Austin Rivers knocked down wide open 3.
And it was
Bones
really
like
just a
jittery
chord.
step backs, and you're
It's
like,
a great
oh,
point,
yeah.
Ray. Walter White, too much star power to be Mr. Breaking Bad. Gus Fring. That's true. God damn it.
Amazingly good point. It's a great point, you. Bones representing Denver/Colorado. Now here's the thing: he's only been a rookie, hasn't been here
Oh,
long,
boy.
but
Well,
he has done the dog park meetups. He's gone horseback riding. Like
Yeah.
we joke about the corny Colorado stuff, but dogs and horses. I mean, come
some
on.
would say he's campaigning for Mr. Nugget.
yeah, some would say that this is a little heavy-handed. Actually, like he's gone a little too far.
He's making his desire to be Mr. Nugget maybe a little too known.
I think here's the thing about
But
Bones.
it's great.
Again, I'm just trying, don't know him personally, just saying from our interactions and observing him. He's a guy that I think likes friends. He likes friends.
Yeah.
He has a group of friends, right, that are kind of with him all the time.
Him
But I
and
think
Harrison.
he also likes everybody. Like he wants to connect with everybody.
Yeah.
So doing these things
He's a
is
man
lot
of the
about
people.
He's a man of the people. He's like
Whoever those people might be.
all people, really.
All people.
Pretty much all people.
Also, none of the things he's done, even though they're like, I feel like no other NBA player would do them, it hasn't felt fake.
Right.
Like it seems like he's actually enjoying hanging out at a dog park in Denver.
He wants to do those
Right.
things.
He's putting like all of himself into it.
He's not smoking a cigarette behind his car,
like posing for one picture with some dog.
Banaka real quick.
Probably a golden doodle, and then just going
How
home.
painful this is for me.
Which is basically, well, that's what I do. Like when
He's not doing it for the photo op.
I want to die.
The old Ben Affleck cigarette.
No, Bones, like, he likes a conversation. Online, in person, he really I can relate to this. I like to connect.
You like a conversation.
I like talking to people. I like to. I'm Mr. Nugget.
You are Mr. Nugget. Can I say this is as an aside? I agree with you. I have tried to take up calling more than texting. Texting, direct line, get here to there. People are too comfortable with it. A conversation, you have no idea where it's going to go.
Where could it go?
Could go anywhere.
This has gone off the rails mightily. This is a conversation.
Does Bones get the crowd going?
Oh, stop. What kind of dumb question is that? Next. Mile High City, baby.
Does he honestly...
He got the crowd going from the first moment that he put on a Nuggets jersey.
I think, honestly, of the Jokic era, he's number one at getting the crowd going. I think number two would be Kenneth Faried. Kenneth Faried used to be a guy that had a kind of a natural ability.
That was early Mr. Nugget. It was Birdman.
For sure.
Then it was
Birdman for sure.
Then it was Kenneth Faried.
You're right.
Maybe a Jameer Nelson in there.
No. That would have been.
He got us going, not the crowd.
Manimal was definitely
Emmanuel Moody got the crowd going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. And I think Bones we don't know this relationship well enough to say, but get teammates going. Bones definitely is a guy that gets hyped. Like, I think back to that headband Jokic gave at the end of the year. If you go, Bones was definitely counting every bucket before it went in. He was on the sideline just being like threes up. He's like, that's going. And it was true. And if you go look at the highlights, I do think he's
getting hyped for your teammates.
Getting hyped for your teammates. They're really big. Bones, strong candidacy.
Very strong candidate.
Any risks with Bones Highland?
Little young. Might falter on the stately side of Mr. Nugget.
It's a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
It's hard when you're this young. You're bound to run into trouble, and I don't mean trouble like big trouble. I'm just saying you're bound to have social faux pas.
Yes.
Everybody knows the young person in an office. You love the guy, but every now and then, you're like, hey,
he gets
man,
too drunk at the
a little too drunk at the company party. Yeah. Exactly. Like, hey, man, you're an adult
Rein
now.
it in a little bit.
Rein it in a little. You kind of flirted with the boss's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Uncomfortable.
So there is, with the Bones candidacy does come a little risk.
A little volatility.
A little volatility that you typically do not like to have in the office of Mr. Nugget. All that being said, we're progressive.
We're progressive. We're so progressive. Number 2, Aaron Gordon.
Oh, this is a dark horse candidate. Who has leapt into the light.
I don't even feel like it's a dark horse.
He was. We never talked about him one time being Mr. Nugget last year, but in the way that he's conducted himself since the season,
rise.
Since there has been a vacancy in the Mr. Nugget universe, we have started to think about him differently than we did before. We've started to notice certain things about his personality.
Can I tell you? I think it goes back much further, though. For me personally. You even can go back to the Clipper game and after that game, if you remember.
I think it goes right back to when he got here. Yeah.
Right when he got here, I don't know, because there was still a little bit of learning him, this or that. But I'm telling you, this last year, I just felt like there was a lot of growth, a lot of he's a big Jokic guy. You know what I mean? He's a big hey, I know what's awesome about this team and this or that.
Yeah.
And so I think it goes back further.
But I think it's when he got here, and just from day one, he bought into the role that Denver wanted him to play.
The one thing,
from that moment, I was like, this guy just gets it.
I couldn't agree more. But there was, with the AG Nuggets Denver relationship, there was a peak and there was a deep valley. And
you think there was a valley?
Yes, during the playoffs against Portland, he became the absolute scapegoat in a lot of people's eyes as to why the Nuggets weren't able. We paid him all this money. I'm just saying, if we're looking at
he guarded Damian Lillard.
I'm just telling you, man. There has been a valley in the relationship of AG and the fan base that he has since recovered from. But I'm just saying, the other Mr. Nuggets that we've had have never had low moments with the fan base. I'm just putting it out there. We're just talking candidacy. Aaron Gordon is a guy.
I honestly don't remember any of that. Of those
you don't
sentiments.
remember anything.
Yeah, but I don't remember those sentiments.
Oh,
like,
it totally was a sentiment. Largely from casuals, but all the same, like there was a lot of like,
you're on Facebook
we just
more
paid
now.
all of this guy all this money, and he was not great in that Portland series. I'm just saying, like we're bringing all points to light here.
I think you have an agenda here. Understand and accept the relationship between team and fan base. I think he has shown some real signs of this.
No question.
Even just he has a very Denver house. AG represents a very specific type of Denverite, the California transplant. In the best way, though. In the best way. Like, not in the word. He's not like out in and out every day. He's not that one. But I'm saying, like, he has this California broness that discovered Colorado and was like, oh, this is my vibe.
He's got the right temperament.
No question.
Like, if I saw AG in, where would he hang out in the mountains? Aspen.
Tell you right.
Smoking a joint.
Wrong disagree. AG's way more of like
Winter
a
Park.
copper Winter Park vibe.
I think he's a Winter Park vibe, man. I don't think he's an Aspen vibe.
I tell you right.
But Aspen's okay. It's okay.
They're all great. I'm just saying. I'm with Kale on this one.
If you saw him in
the
Steamboat, you'd be like, yep, there he is.
Steamboat, yeah, maybe.
Look, he's snowboarding, guys. Come on, man. He's not in a turtleneck, coming down on the skis.
He's a boarder.
Custodian of vibes. Here's an interesting one because I think AG has great vibes. He's such me, he's so chill, but he's not like Bones, who is constantly shooting vibes out. He's almost more radiating vibes, I would say.
Yeah, he is. Oh wow, he is the source of quiet, confident, unmistakable vibes.
Yeah,
I'd say while Bones might have higher peaks.
Oh yeah,
maybe AG is just that constant,
just the
constant flow.
Lovable. For me, I think
who
very
does
lovable.
Not love AG. He is a teddy bear with a varying hairstyle.
And just a cool dude. And authentic. Here's the thing where I think he gets like 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
AG, very unique guy.
Yeah, for sure.
In a way that's like very authentic. Is this like he has like a character. To me, he's a character. I always go back to his high school when he won some tournament, AAU tournament, and he did the interview with his longboard.
Yeah.
This like 6'8" super athlete who longboards to his tournaments and wins.
Yeah. If we were, if
He definitely did not fit in Orlando. The more I think about it,
No way.
who fits in Orlando?
Yeah, nobody fits in Orlando. I mean, come on.
Like a child in Mickey Mouse. So if we're thinking about how it works if we're thinking about Bones, the negative being a little volatile, a little young, we don't know if he has the maturity necessary on a day-to-day basis to carry the mantle that is Mr. Nugget. Mm-hmm. AG, on the other hand, very stately, very reserved.
Stable. Yep.
Very stable. You don't have to worry about his actions.
He's been in the league a long time. He knows how to handle himself.
Yeah, no question. It's just that with AG, is he too reserved? My thing with AG is that he's a little bit too into his. I think he's more Mr.
Got
AG. Than
a very similar temperament to Gary Harris.
Yes, he does. That's a great point.
Man, he is more of a Gary Harris than a Monte.
The greatest point, which we cannot overlook, is that he went to Germany to watch Jokic play.
Yeah, it's the number one thing on his
we're getting in this.
Mr.
Represent
Nugget
Denver,
resume.
attending other sports. He went all the way to Europe to attend one game. You could tell it meant a lot to Jokic seeing him there.
Yep.
I love that he didn't announce it. He didn't tell him. He didn't tell anybody.
He didn't even buy a courtside
He bought
seat
a
or
ticket
anything. He
into
was
the
just
stands.
sitting with the people.
I love that he didn't use his like power to just go behind the shadows.
He just
to this
went
app.
on to, I don't know, the Game Time
He
website
went on the Game
and
Time
just
app.
bought a ticket.
He just bought a ticket on the Game Time. I'm telling you, the authenticity is the part that really pulls it for me, and the fact that he is so like representative of Colorado naturally because he's such a Colorado guy.
Can I bring up one point about this though?
Yeah.
Was he just on vacation and happened to slide in? Did he
No
go
chance.
there?
No chance.
Why did he not connect with Jokic?
What do you mean?
To me, it's like if you're there.
You think he was just like, oh shit, there's a game?
I think he was like already going to be in that area because he didn't go to the next game and the next game.
Well, it wasn't actually in Berlin. It was in Prague.
It was in Prague. I think he was just kind of. I
There was only
I think he went to Italy.
It's a question.
too.
He was like
Or
he was
Greece.
clearly on a European vacation and he found an opportunity. He still went. I'm just saying, like,
To me, this is a no caveat. I honestly,
Okay,
we
just
can
a
ask him at
question.
media day. We can ask him at media day. But
Just a
I'm pretty
question.
confident that he was like, you know, it'd be cool. Let's go to Prague.
I think the fact that he didn't try to hang out with Jokic is a good thing because he was like, oh, Jokic's with his national team.
Sure,
he's got to focus on that. I'm just going to pop in for a game.
I can see it both sides. No question.
Gets the crowd going. Now he is a dunker. No, I think he is. He is a dunker. He has some big moments, some big 3-point moments and different things. Like, to me, not on a Bones level, but he is like maybe who above him, who else on the team? If you had said gets the crowd going, Bones
momentum
number 1.
Turning plays.
Aaron Gordon is up there with like Jamal Murray and Jokic in terms of
like a Bones deep 3 turns the momentum like that.
Yeah.
An AG big dunk can also do that.
Yes.
And I will say, as an aside, to me, AG's a little bit of a, when we were talking about bonus points for getting drafted.
So close.
And when you talk about bonus points for being like on the team, you drafted him or whatever, what'd you call him? Homegrown. AG's kind of a second draft player. Like, there's something cool about a guy that goes to you and then becomes like, hey, now I'm a Denver guy. It's like Peyton Manning. He's a Colt for most of his career. He's in Denver still. He's still in Denver. He still prefers to hang out around the Broncos. I feel like that's AG. He probably looks back and is like, damn, I wish Denver would have drafted me.
Yeah.
But I had to give some time there. He's the family you choose, or we're the family he chose.
Yeah. We chose him.
We chose him, but then he
accepted. Sure, I listen.
All right.
Back and forth.
Strong candidacy to me.
No
for
question.
AG. To me, a much safer pick in terms of volatility. But also, like, he's just a different type of Mr. Nugget than what Bones would be.
Here's something else about AG and his candidacy. He always has his teammates' backs.
Funny, huh?
Do these players realize they have a candidacy?
No. This is 100% serious. He always has his teammates' backs.
Yeah.
Ever since Aaron Gordon got here and there's been, like, an altercation, Markieff Morris.
Oh, he's been in it.
The Suns.
He's right there.
He's always there. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
He's always first to that altercation.
Interesting.
I think that's notable. I think that's something.
Would you want Bones to be first up against Markieff Morris?
Bones will throw a punch faster. I think Bones would actually fly off the
I just think AG is always ready to step, for his teammates.
That's a great point. It's a great point.
He's got his guys back.
And honestly, a lot of this is last year. Draymond really went hard at him, and I just was so impressed with the fact that he kind of punched back, like, emotionally. I was very impressed with that.
I agree.
All right. Other candidates. Chalky. Vlatko Čančar. Chalky.
Absolute dark horse. Needs to be taken seriously.
I'm just saying, he's got the nickname going. Chalky. He, nobody hates Vlatko.
No one hates Vlatko.
Very likable. Does he have any dark horse candidacy here, Wind?
He's not going to be Mr. Nugget, but he is a candidate. He does have to be mentioned. He does need to be in the conversation. What do we talk about as the most important, the first criteria for being Mr. Nugget? You got to be a great teammate.
Great teammate.
That's what Vlatko is.
He is the greatest of teammates.
A 10 out of 10, 100 out of 100 teammate.
He's higher than that. You're discounting him. Vlatko is literally on the team to just be a dope teammate to Jokic.
His vibes, I don't know that he radiates vibes like the other two.
He radiates them to Nikola Jokic, which is, so he's probably like Mr. Jokic.
If you traded Bones and AG for Kevin Durant or something, like some kind of that upgrade, but not emotional upgrade, then you'd have to start looking, and maybe Chalky. At this point.
Should we just call him Chucky?
Chucky. I like Chucky.
All right, whatever you want to call him.
Chucky.
I think he would be up there. We don't know about Bruce Brown. KCP, we don't know, but is there a chance that they were like, hey, man, he's clearly
the problem?
I don't think with KCP. Bruce Brown, there's some sneaky candidacy. I think we'll see it maybe a year from now, 2 years from now.
Unfortunately for those two potentially worthy candidates,
he's like when you're picking a president. Maybe Bruce Brown could be the VP of Mr. Nugget, and then in 2 years, he's under consideration.
A85 says you have to be a top 7 player. I don't agree with that, but I would say top 10. I'll even say top 11. I think you have to be top 10 or 11.
Vlatko was part of the 7.
He was part of these 7. But I do agree that there's like a level below where you're like, hey, I can't be. It would be hilarious if DeAndre Jordan was Mr. Nugget. Somehow he's just like,
I would be very surprised.
If he's like Mike Miller on steroids. Remember Mike Miller was like a great end of bench guy?
Right.
No one would be more blown away if DeAndre Jordan stole the crowd.
He's
of
going to be a great teammate.
Yeah, the problem with Bruce Brown is he seems like a great guy, but you cannot appoint Mr. Nugget sight unseen.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You learn about Bruce Brown. Maybe in a couple years from now, he is that guy.
Well, here's one thing I was going to say. In years past, Gary was anointed Mr. Nugget 3-4 years into his tenure. Monte Morris 3-4 years into his tenure. Is there any chance that you feel Mr. Nugget should linger into the season? Like, hey, let's give it a month before we kind of announce
this is a tough question.
I think you have to enter the season with a Mr. Nugget.
Yeah,
I think
it might be a little awkward if the title is vacated while games are being played.
There cannot be a Mr. Nuggets void. That's a leadership void.
Like that might hurt the team. It might actually hurt the team if there's not a Mr. Nugget.
Spiral out of control. The fan base is going to be fighting. We have to find resolution. Not today, but we need to find resolution.
We're letting the process play out, but we've got to come to a consensus before the season.
Jeff Green, Zeke Naji, Ish Smith.
Oh my God, Ish Smith, no chance. He's Mr. Nugget killer. We can't, even if he's on our team now. Like, Zeke, too quiet.
Christian Brown, Davon Reed. I just don't see it. I think I think we have 2 candidates.
Dave, yeah, you're right. You're right. It's the two. It is, and trust me when I say it is neck and neck.
It's close.
Bones and AG.
Could it be 2 people?
Could we have the royal orders of Mr. Nuggets?
I'm going to say yes, it could be. I'm not saying it will be, but I'm saying it could be. And at 1,000% could be. And that would be a great thing. It'd be a great thing that you had 2 guys that kind of...
Mr. Nuggets going in officially to the season with Mr. Nuggets. It might be the only realistic solution.
It's like, can there be 2 kings? No.
Oh my God! Sometimes there's 2
Sometimes
kings,
there is a triumvirate.
Oh boy,
3 kings.
Did that ever work out well?
It did work out in one of the greatest dynasties of all time.
This
fell apart, went up in flames, went down in flames at the end.
I mean, if you're not supposed to campaign where people go to near where people are polling. We're not polling here. I'll give my personal feelings.
Okay.
I believe Mr. Nuggets should be Bones. I've believed this for a long time. When we were talking about this organically, it hit and it fit so clearly to me when the season was playing out. I never once thought of Aaron Gordon as Mr. Bones, as Mr. Nugget, but as the time has played out and we've had time away from the Nuggets, it's easy to construct narratives in your mind based on limited pieces of information. I just know what I felt, and what I felt when I was hearing Mile High City Baby screamed at the top of one's lungs. I myself was screaming it. Bones has a real interest in the city of Denver and this show. For some reason. I love what Bones is about. His vibes are ones that I would follow into battle. AG is someone I would hang out with all the time. I'm voting him Mr. Eric's best friend.
Are you leaning?
I'm not ready to say.
But
I'm not ready to say who my
Mr.
pick for
President
Mr.
Nugget
is.
and Vice President Nugget.
All right.
Should we just fill out a whole cabinet?
We may be announcing this very, very soon.
Yeah, I'm not ready to publicly say I'm leaning one way. I'm not ready to say it publicly.
I'm leaning both ways. I'm leaning towards. I understand there being a chance to be 2 Mr. Nugget, an order of Mr. Nugget. To me, it doesn't.
Royal Order
it doesn't
of
hurt.
Mr. Nuggets?
It doesn't hurt my brain, or my heart, or my soul to say that, or my body.
It's true. Listen,
it's a good thing. This is a great special year, and it's a good thing that we have multiple
it's a difficult
candidates.
decision.
Yeah.
I think
It's a very good thing. That does it for today's show, guys. We might have a special one for you tomorrow. I'm not so sure. We'll find out. We might have a special one for you as we return. But either way, 3 more shows. 3 more before the off season is officially off.
God damn it!
I can't wait.
To the off season, this little patch. Mercifully, Eurobasket existed, so we
it was great.
Yeah,
it's so great. There was a
sit back.
There was a mid off season tournament.
It really was great. It really was.
And now we're back to oh man.
I know. Do you see? I told everybody how this works out. It works out the same every year. The last week or so, you saw all these guys that were in town on vacation in Mexico. You see the pictures coming to us. Everybody's in different places. They probably circle back here in the next day or 2. You're going to see everybody come back in, get a little weekend runs in. and then you're right into media day on Monday. So,
Oh, boy.
all excited for that. Also, I'm really hopeful the Nuggets drop a jersey this week. The hand. I like that. I also like vice president. I kept sitting here thinking whoever comes second just
Mr.
I was just like vice president. Can you imagine if we're just calling a Nuggets player vice
Well, I will
president all
say
year?
that RK and I clashed.
The VN Vice Nugget.
RK and I clashed at who was the rightful owner of the CVO of this company, the Chief's Vibes Officer.
Who did you say?
Me. I said it was me.
Who did he say?
He said it was him.
Just a ridiculous
And in
argument.
the end, we came up with the idea that we are CVOs. We are the chief. We are the co-vibes officers.
Oh God!
This
is what happens when there's no deliberation from any outside person. It's just you two.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Kim Jong Un vibes coming over
Right,
from
From the co-VOs.
He just named himself King.
Yeah, anyone besides RK who wants to challenge my title of Chief Vibes Officer, I'll listen to your argument.
There it goes. Everybody hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.